over in 15 minutes. Tim's or tennis, I walk all over beats. These gems unblemished. Let the hear the beat knock. Give me reason to speak hot. I spit street tales, 16 bars and 3 blocks. Get your boy Chief Pot, stay with a Chief's plot. Test me, you need not. Never will we stop.
Everything good.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man.
We did work. We talking about rap?
Yeah, you know, talk about rap.
What's good with you though?
You got the T is disrespectful. The T is just I was like, damn, I ain't run back no rap shirt today. I had to rewind the clips joint, but your shit is just
that shit's fire though. Shout out my nigga Beast, man. Since I moved up here, I've been going to a lot of more random shows I probably wouldn't have went to. But we definitely we went kind of deep to this joint, the Woo and
I remember you going. I remember you posted that shit. And that joint, man, I'll be missing more shows than I go to, that's for sure. I don't even remember the last one I went to. I need to make that. My wife really wants to go to the Ariana Grande shit that's coming next year. So I got, trying to make a movie out of that for her.
Okay.
I'll have the Ariana t-shirt. that y'all have it that week. Like, just talk about rap.
Oh man, again.
That's how you gotta set off the pod. Yeah.
Well, this week ain't nothing really dropped, in my opinion.
Lucy's.
Apollo Brown, he's strictly a producer?
I get you shit. You gotta tell me. I know his name, but I don't really know. Yeah, I think so.
Because a lot of times I see the A in Apollo Brown. So he dropped a piece, L. Michael's Affair. I think he dropped a piece last week.
Aren't they a band?
I believe so. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. They have a Black Thought. I have a Black Thought.
Yeah, I know they collab with Black Thought. So I thought
that shit's fire too.
Okay, so they are a band though.
They are, I believe they are from France.
Okay. Oh wow.
I believe they are.
Okay. That makes more sense of the word affair in it.
Hence the name. Yeah. Hold on. Let's get the Googles out. It's L. What is it?
Well, that's just two. I guess like producer type joints. You can just vibe out with two type shits. You know what I mean?
I really like this this Jay Worthy and Larry June single. Even though I don't think Larry June's spitting on this, the 2 P's joint. You're gonna get me every time if you're gonna sample Luther Vandross, and it's gonna be fire. And they sampled the Luther joint, Don't You Know, which is super, super classic. And they really sampled it in a really fire ass way. Okay. Like they took almost all the elements of the joint, but they like left some of it out. And I was like, yeah, man, like that shit is actually, that shit was crazy. So yeah, this dude Jay Worthy, man, I like him, man. He's got this joint with George Clinton that they put out a few weeks ago. Mm. I feel like I want to know more about this cat. Like he spent a lot of time in New York, which is what he's talking about on this record. Spent a lot of time in New York for a dude that's straight Cali, on some Cali, not gangbanging shit, but that's like his aesthetic, right? His Cali bloods and shit like that. But he moved around a lot on the East Coast, moved around a lot on the West Coast. Seems, real respected. People really fucking with him. And his music, man, like he's not like super lyrical type dude, but like he's saying some shit and he's a little bit low key nice. I was like, like I feel like whenever he puts out whatever he's gonna put out, I gotta make sure I check for it.
And I think because he's low key nice, he's one of the dudes that I can't really remember who he is, but it's like a group of like 10 of those who I think like, all right, I might check him out, but I might not check him out. You know what I mean? That type shit. Because I think
I feel you.
Remember I was saying Wrong Streets left that, like he left, like he elevated himself out of that group or whatever, man.
Correct.
But like Jay Worthy, I think Stove God, there's a couple of them that kind of have a style that's kind of different, but it kind of similar to themselves, if that makes sense. So, but again, Stove God has moved himself out of that group also.
He absolutely has. Even for me, I was like, man, I'm really tired of Stove God features with him, singing and doing the shit that he's doing. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, I need to shut up because this dude's cooking. No pun intended. No, my bad. So L. Michael's Affair, definitely not French. I read that somewhere. It says that they're American, but they are a group But yeah, they remind me of Bad Bad Not Good. Have you ever heard them? Bad Bad Not Good?
Yeah.
That's another. They're like a band that like it's like they play hip hop type shit, and they got an album with Ghostface. Let's see, Bad, but they're another group. Like they made an album very similar to the Black Thought shit. You know, you pull them up, you feel like you listening to a band that's like taking a sample and making a whole song out of it. But you know, they're like a legitimate band, you know, but they have a dope joint with Ghost called Sour Soul, you know, and their shit is fire. But yeah, I don't be surprised if Jay Worthy becomes one of these dudes that elevates himself out of that group. Like I think he's got some shit to him that we just now getting onto, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything to talk about this week, or we jump right into the list? Like, what's going on? What happened?
So I do think that the situation at Hot 97 merits a discussion. And so for everybody who doesn't know, obviously Hot 97, the legendary hip hop radio station in New York City, it got taken over, I guess, quote unquote, you could say, by Power 105, because
really?
Power 105, well, I don't know. I don't think, to me, it hasn't, but Power 105 is a Clear Channel station. And Clear Channel, obviously, is one of the biggest stations in the car. I believe, are they iHeart? I don't know if Clear Channel is iHeart, if they're two separate joints, but Clear Channel is just a behemoth of a media company that owns all kinds of radio stations. Hot 97 has never been owned by an iHeart, by a Clear Channel. They've always been these smaller companies. I think at one point it was Ennis Communication. Like, I don't really know all the ins and outs of that. I just know that Hot 97 has always been a smaller company, and Hot 97 has always been what it was, not because it got propped up, because Power 105 absolutely got propped up by a big money company and continues to be propped up by a big money company. Hot 97 became what it became because it was just the hub of hip hop music. You know what I'm saying?
Funny, that's what Peter always brings up when they talk about the fact that them and Breakfast Club kind of go head to head. It's like, yo, we don't have no behemoth behind us. Like,
correct.
He's
right.
We're big because we're good at what we do, and we are so authentic. But
Hot 97. So the history of New York radio is Kiss FM and WBLS were the black radio stations in New York that was playing, you know, R&B and soul, and then they started to play hip hop, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s, early 90s, they started to play hip hop. You know, they had, you know, Cool DJ Red Alert was on there and shit like that. And then Hot 97 goes from a house music radio station to like overnight starts playing hip hop. And Hot 97 built what it built because they chose to. And Funkmaster Flex came on Hot 97 probably around like 1994. Cool DJ Red Alert was on Hot 97. Eventually they got like Stretch and Bobbito. Like Hot 97 just decided like we're going to be a hip hop station. And way before Power 105 ever existed, Hot 97 was like, we're going to be the home for hip hop. And WBLS and Kiss FM were playing hip hop music, but they kind of fell back and decided to go more to like R&B and like urban contemporary soul and things like that. So really Hot 97 took the ball, and I don't, like, WBLS and Kiss FM like merged. Hot 97 wasn't like, it's not like three companies that decided, okay, y'all play the hip hop music now. Like Hot 97 like just took that shit, you know, it became more about the youth, and became what it became, you know, with Flex and DJ Clue and Pete Rock was on there, and you know, Angie Martinez and all the shit that it was. And so I think that now what appears to have happened and what Ebro and them are saying is that they have a new ownership, a bunch of venture when they say VCs, they mean venture capitalists, right? And venture capitalists are people who just invest in something to make money. And obviously you got to get money from somewhere, but it feels very much like what's happened to, you know, Red Lobster and Pizza Hut and all these chains that we know and love, that people with money come and essentially strip it for parts and extract their money from it. And, you know, like we've said on the show, like nothing is safe from billionaires. Billionaires are essentially coming for everything, from everything from housing to art to everything. And it's just sad to see that that's what's happening in Hot 97. Like they pushed out. So essentially what happened is, and it doesn't seem like a major shakeup. It's just DJEnuff is gone. And
So is
DJEnuff,
that like the icing on the cake, the cherry on the top or something? Like, why? Because like I said, Ebro been talking about the VCs and shit been changing. They don't really want to see this and the third. And
yeah.
then when I guess Enough had his last spin, the next morning it was like, yo, we let the cat out the bag type shit. So was that like the last straw or something, or that was just that big or what?
So DJEnuff, I think the reason why it felt as big as it did is because DJEnuff has been there longer than everybody except for Funkmaster Flex. You know what I'm saying? Definitely longer than Peter, and possibly longer than Ebro. I think like Ebro was behind the scenes for a while, so I don't know exactly how long. Ebro wasn't always a personality; he was a program director. But he's been there a really long time and is well respected in the DJ community. Well respected. He started Heavy Hitters. He was the one who started the Heavy Hitters. At least
A lot of these
D is a
ever,
part
right?
of. Correct, exactly. And there's a lot of DJs. DJ Camilo is one of the biggest DJs in the world. That all started from DJEnuff. And so DJEnuff is just a humongous. He's a brand. He's an icon, you know what I'm saying? And for them to treat him the way that they did and to push him out and to do it in such a cheap way, like they could have done anything, they could have negotiated with him, they could have done anything, and they essentially pushed him out and make him look like a fucking bum. And, I think it's kind of speaks to the reason why I think it's instructive potentially and why it's important is because while Hot 97 isn't owned by a big company like that, you could say they're sort of like a mom and pop in the world of hip hop radio when you compare it to like Sirius and all these other big name companies. If you're gonna treat a dude like DJEnuff on a station like Hot 97 like shit and just push him to the side, for really no reason, you know what I mean? They were basically trying to cut costs and save money. It's not like they pay these DJs that much money anyway. These dudes make their money outside, It just feels like what is safe? You know what I'm saying? Like nothing is safe, man. Like these are our icons. This is our culture, man. And people will come and cut a fucking check and push shit around. And just like Spotify and Apple Music have essentially cheapened, we all love streaming, but they've essentially turned the hip hop industry and the music industry into tech companies, where algorithms drive shit, and you take away such a source of profitability for these artists by decreasing what they make on their record sales. And then you wonder why the quality of music suffers, because it's like, well, they can't make money this way. They have to focus their attention on their brands and their merch and shows. And then you wonder why they're all big on everything is on social media now and everybody wants to promote themselves. Well, it's like if we would just pay these people for their fucking work instead of allowing these tech companies to take away the livelihood of musicians, then we wouldn't have that. And so you wonder with radio, because radio obviously is also a declining medium, right? Like just like newspapers.
It has been for years, and I guess as a fan, look at it because of the quality. It's you get to, the whole payola thing that we kind of understand, but it doesn't like mean we benefit from it. But people don't really. I think with radio, people don't really understand that. I don't think radio was meant for. Oh, I'm about to say something real bad. Anyway, fuck it. Radio was kind of like those small part-time jobs. It's not meant for the long term. Radio is meant for you to go here to here and hear it on the way there. Like it's meant for 30-minute stretches. If you're here for 3 hours and you hear the same songs, it's like because you was here for 3 hours. It's not my fault, but that's a whole other conversation. Before we leave this topic, why did Flex get so much flack?
Flex got a lot of flack because people think that Flex pushed enough out, that Flex had something to do with it. And they moved Flex into a different slot. So Flex went from 7 to 12, and he's moved from like 5 to 10 or something like that. And so Apparently, I haven't listened to Hot 97 consistently in a long time, but the 5 o'clock slot used to be DJEnuff, like from 5 to 7 or something like that. He had the 5 o'clock rush hour, but he hasn't been on that spot in a while. Like he was in a different spot. So I guess DJEnuff left the station after his show, and TMZ ran up on him, and it was choreographed, and they asked him, like, do you think Flex had something to do with it? And he was like, yeah, I kind of, I hope not, but I kind of think he did. And then Flex went on his show and basically shared the history of him and Enough had competitive history, but they also had love for each other. But he's saying, like, I wouldn't have done that to him. I wouldn't push anybody out because that's just not who I am, and I don't have to do that.
You
and it just
Snitch 1 and Snitch 2, or
Snake 1 and Snake 2,
Snake
yeah. DJ Camilo and Drewski, he's saying we're behind the scenes.
These are the people he's talking
He
about.
didn't say names, but that's who he means, is DJ Camilo and Drewski. And he basically said that these dudes were sniping for your spot before you even, and they came to me and they had conversations with me and I deaded it, but I never said anything. Flex gets flack also because he stepped on DJEnuff's announcement. He said, today is my last day on the 7 o'clock spot, and people kind of took it as, oh, Flex is leaving Hot 97, and I did too for like 2 seconds, and really then what you found out is, no, Flex is just moving from 7 to 5, whereas DJEnuff actually was the one being pushed out. And so the dual announcements created confusion. People have known Flex to, behind the scenes, be a real shark, like the type of dude who's willing to play the game and to
that's what Ebro was saying,
make sure he comes out on top. Yeah,
that's what Ebro was saying, like, blatantly too. Like, yeah, some people will play a game, and Flex has been known to be that type of person to play the game. Like, fuck it.
Yeah, the Juan Epstein podcast I listened to yesterday, Cypher Sounds is obviously very close to Flex. And, they just said, like, you don't want to cross this dude. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not always about even crossing him. It's just like he's his own entity. He's going to move the way he moves. And if you're in his way, you're going to get ran the fuck over. So do your best to stay on his good side kind of shit. So I think that's why he's getting the flack, is because he's obviously the winner in all this. Like Enough gets pushed out. Flex gets his new spot. He gets to basically reclaim a different territory, and he gets to stay there. And people feel like, you may not have directly had something to do with it, but you absolutely did not have something to do with it. Like, you're close to all the players. You could have advocated for Enough to stay, and you didn't. I think just generally there's a lot of bitterness with Ebro and Peter and that show, and like how shit is happening there. And you wonder if, like, they're not next, especially the way they were talking.
Yes, but the way they were talking, they talk like this on the regular. Like, Peter, you were I'd say this time he was a lot more blatant and saying names and this, that, and the thing.
I was like,
they've been on that energy for, like, yo, don't be surprised, because they speak. They don't bite their tongue, and they talk about everything that's important to us, and that's the reason why I rock with that, and that's why
it's a great show. It's a great show.
That's why it's so funny how they're pitted against Breakfast Club, but it's like they're not the same. Like,
they ain't nothing like Breakfast Club.
Yeah, Breakfast Club is definitely Flex, where they will play the game to get there, as opposed with Ebro in the morning. Like, yo, this is what's going on. We're going to tell you that. You know what I mean? Like, I really fucking enjoy that show. But yeah, did you the list?
We're doing two lists, right? Which one do you think is more fun?
I think I did more homework on the Moments joint.
Yeah.
I have my 5 for the soundtracks. But
I have both too. Yeah.
I didn't do homework as far as, like, what songs I like off of the soundtrack. So I think I would rather, like, after I did it, I was like, this is kind of interesting. I think I'd rather go ahead and push that to next week, and we can get Moments. Because I probably did Moments incorrectly, but I enjoy doing stuff incorrectly. What's your definition? What's your definition of, like, Moments, though?
I wanted to think of moments that were like real pivotal things that happened in hip hop music that were big things in the moment that everybody had to pay attention to, like, oh shit, that just happened. But also not just that it was a big moment, that, like, the shit that happened after that was it was a sliding door type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of how I felt about it. And I'll give my first moment. Hopefully, I'll give.
Hold. Let me tell you how I did my homework incorrect.
Yeah.
Mine is more like moments and / errors that I enjoyed from hip hop. So I think every time you tell me, let's do a top or most iconic and this and the third, I'm gonna tell you my favorite.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And mine's that's interesting because I don't have the ones that are necessarily my favorite. I kind of I thought of like this was big when it happened, and everybody was like, like we all had to pay attention to that shit. And then the things that happened after it were even bigger, and it's almost like we didn't know it at the time, but like this thing happened and then that shit happened too. You know what I'm saying? So like my first one, the whole reason that I even came up with this idea, and you know how it is, like you think of one moment and that's what makes the concept. Andre 3000 at the Source Awards. Andre 3000 at the Source Awards. And a lot of these moments my thing happened before social media, before cell phones, before the internet in some cases. So Andre 3000 speech at the Source Awards, obviously they won Best New Artist. In the Source Awards, this might have been like 1995. This was might have been the very first Source Awards. And people didn't expect them to win. And this was in New York City. And it was not like the Oscars. It was like a rented auditorium where they just let a whole bunch of hip hop motherfuckers in. That's how the vibe. And it was probably better than that, but that was the vibe. And they essentially got booed. A lot of people got booed. You know, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg got booed when they won. And so they go up there. I think maybe people wanted Biggie to win. I forget exactly like who it was, but it was in New York. It was in New York. And so a lot of New York centric crowd and they just, people were like, Outkast won this shit. And first of all, the reason why it's so big is because like this was Outkast before ATLiens. So this is first album Outkast. And obviously Outkast would go on to become essentially the biggest hip hop group, in my opinion, the most important hip hop group of all time. And they would become what they became. But Andre 3000 essentially went up there and said, he was like, listen, man, like, I hear y'all grumbling and everything, but check this out. Like, y'all may not want to hear us, but the South has something to say. You know, he really pushed back against the crowd, but it wasn't just the crowd. I think he was pushing back against everybody to be like, you know, the perception of us and who we are and Southern cats that are slow, that don't have the, you know, that maybe don't have the cachet that everybody else does. We're not from LA. We're not from New York. Let me tell y'all something about the South. The South has something to say, and y'all better pay attention to us. And what happened from the South? Atlanta became the hub of hip hop music. The South became the biggest sort of, you know, locality of where hip hop came from. You know what I mean? The South ran hip hop. The South has as much of a run in running hip hop music as New York, as LA does, frankly, and a sustaining movement. And you could argue that it started, that it got sparked. Like it didn't, like they weren't the first ones, but it got sparked when Andre was like, oh yeah, the South got something to say. Y'all watch what we do. You know what I mean? And that to me, I was like, damn, you know, that was huge.
It was fire. Was that before or after Suge said if y'all want people dancing in the videos and all that?
I want to say it might have been the year before that. Okay. I'm not, or I don't think that was the same one, but like I get them confused. Like, yeah, that's a lot of shit happened at the Source Awards. Yeah.
And it's funny because like that's what hip hop is missing. Like, and I think that's because of what they call it, scheduled TV. Like if something happens at 9 o'clock and everybody sits in front of the TV and watch it.
Yeah.
Streaming and stuff. Like I think that's what we're missing. Like what hip hop is missing with them, because every other genre still has them with their award shows. People still find a way to watch their joints, but we don't.
And they just I heard the last awards.
I heard the last BET Awards was fire, and I still haven't watched it. But yeah. Anyway, which one do I want to pick? This shit's fun. Fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the easy one, biting off what people were saying this week. That CanIBus run.
People talking a lot about that this week. Yeah,
they were talking about it a lot. And like I said, when you said like that was the first one that popped in my head because I was a bit CanIBus fan, and it was so fire. I guess back then when you heard a new song and either you did know who's going to be on it or you didn't know who's going to be on it. And CanIBus was dragging. CanIBus by far had the best verse on every song he was on for like 10 tracks easily. And it was like
LL Cool J got salty about it.
Yeah, definitely. And people still want to say LL won that battle. I'm not doing that.
He didn't.
If we talk about lyrics to lyrics, then what are we talking about here, dog?
Song to song, moment to moment. He had Mike Tyson in the video, had Mike Tyson in the song.
Yeah. And
LL lost that shit flat
out. It's funny because I was a Mr. Smith album fan, so I rock with L. And I was surprised how Jack the Ripper was like, oh, okay, you got something, but it wasn't like, what are we talking about? If we're talking about lyrics.
It was a knockoff.
Yeah, yes.
It sucked. I hated it. It was a knockoff.
But and I hated how it just seemed like people just don't like that CanIBus album. Like I understand people don't like an album that I like, but I don't understand how y'all don't like this album. Like this album was quality, yo. Maybe that's what it is. Like I'm calling something quality. I think y'all want to like because it's quality. That's like, nigga, that's
it just wasn't what people thought it was gonna be because fucking Wyclef tried to like do too much with it. Just make some beats, man. Like Wyclef, and that became what you understand about Wyclef is that Wyclef just be doing too much sometimes. I mean, you just needed to give him 10 beats and just let him go. And instead they tried to make it a little bit too much.
Especially with his first album. I think I can't agree that album was too deep for his first album when all we heard was bars. Like you said, get this nigga 10 beats, let him just rap.
That's all they wanted. That's all we wanted. Yeah. And it took forever to come out too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's mine right there.
All right. So my next one is going to be Jay-Z at Summer Jam. And I know he was at Summer Jam a few times, but the one Jay-Z at Summer Jam before Blueprint. Jay-Z at Summer Jam, first of all, they brought Michael Jackson on the fucking stage, which is incredible. Probably one of the most iconic moments of Summer Jam is also when he put Prodigy on the Summer Jam screen.
So
the Summer Jam
this is the same day?
It's the same one, yeah. So now the Summer Jam screen is like a verb, right? Like putting somebody on the Summer Jam screen. And so Prodigy with the dance outfit, for when he used to be in his aunt's dance company. Prodigy had a very good explanation for that shit. His grandmother owned like a dance company, and so like, instead of being a troubled youth running in the streets, his parents like tried to put him in dance. I was in African dance when I was a kid.
The way we drag people's childhood decisions that had nothing to do with it. They go like,
he was like, yo, man, my parents made me do that shit because I was in the fucking streets and they wanted me to do something positive. So I was in a dance company because my grandmother owned it. Like, fuck out of here. We all would have did that shit. His explanation made sense. But yeah, the Summer Jam screen, he disses Prodigy, he disses Nas. It's this moment essentially sets off Takeover, which leads to Ether, which leads to the most, probably still, even after Kendrick and Drake, is still the most important hip-hop beef of all time, the one where the two titans clashed and it was the most epic battle. There was a moment at the end of the show where they did like a little interview and people kind of felt like this was the beginning of you kind of seeing Jay feeling like he was a little salty with the crew, because they all doing that interview and Jay-Z's not speaking. Remember he got the Nick jersey on. He's not really saying shit. Like everybody's yelling and yo, we the best, Rockefeller. He's like that, and he's not saying shit. So that moment to me, because this was the beginning of the Jay-Z and Nas beef, which is the most iconic battle of all time. And then also in the moment, everybody that was there, again, this is not pre-internet now, there's internet, but it's pre-social media, but you felt the fucking ripple. Like as soon as that shit was over, everybody was like, yo, he did this. Had P up there, Michael Jackson and all that. So that moment to me was a moment. Like you didn't need social media for that shit to hit you wherever you was at. You know what I
mean? All right. My next one kind of, I can say it kind of follows that or whatever, but the state property in D Block battles, it was going up to the radio station. So my homeboy, my homeboy Kim from Virginia State, he was the mixtape man. And the way we were getting them tapes like every other day, just getting these new tracks. And it's funny because that's like when I first started smoking. So I guess that's the last time I was actually getting high. And my man's like, we used to be in there like just like my man would be in there acting out the lyrics, dog. And like it was just a time, bro. Like it was just so much fun,
Hell
and then
yeah.
like just
Yeah.
the skills at that. So it's kind of like the whole mixtape era itself. When like every Friday you was getting some hot shit that because like I guess the mixtape era kind of coincided with me going to college and being able to see more shit or get
Hmm.
access to more shit. So like
Hmm.
I say the mixtape era along with the D Block
Who you
era.
think won that battle?
Um,
I don't feel like there was ever a clear cut winner. Like anybody could say for sure that this person won.
yeah, I don't think so either because the state property joints are more remembered.
Mm.
Like their visits are more remembered for the whole Oskino and all of them because it was just so many of them.
There's
You
more
know
of
what I
them.
mean?
Yeah.
But and then every other time it's like, yeah, but did you remember Kiss verse though? Like, you remember Kiss verse though? Like it's just some shit like that. You remember like anytime that Kiss rap and like Styles is like the angry nigga back there, you know what I mean, with the bar. I know it's not your cup of tea or whatever, but like it's
Yeah,
like
nah, but he's still my man. I just
yeah,
yeah.
and then the Kiss and Beanie joint, like that whole little
That's what I'm saying. Like, who you
okay,
think won between Kiss and Beans? Like, I couldn't. I felt like that shit was a draw.
yeah,
Beanie came with it on the put your hands up shit. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, Beanie
And
was
the
just
shit they did on Rap City, where they all went on Rap City and Dis D Block, and Beans got that verse, the Styles die on the holiday, Kids die on the holiday. Like that shit's oof,
a
damn,
time, a time.
oof,
Don't ask me why I don't like rappers nowadays because they got skills. Nigga, fuck out of here.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, what you got?
Um, so I would say definitely one of the most important moments in hip hop, not a fun one at all, was when Tupac died. When Tupac got murdered. I was trying to think of what artists at all, let alone big artists, died before Tupac. I don't care if it was natural causes. I don't care if you got shot. I don't care if you had cancer. I don't care if you had a stomach ache. Like, who died before Tupac? And I could think of Scott LaRock, obviously, the DJ for Boogie Down Productions, Trouble T. Roy, the dancer for Heavy D, where they made the song "Reminisce Over You." But none of that was anything close to the level of star that Tupac was. And Tupac was what 26 at the time. Tupac was at the height of being a star and really on the cusp of really even being more of a star because I think that he would have been as big of a movie star as he was a music star. And the reason why I say that that was a moment is because 6 months later is when Biggie died. So these two, we lost both of these dudes within a 6 month period. And this
Bro, I never
we
paid attention. It was only 6 months, bro.
it was 6 months later in March. It was September and March. And really, really, I remember I was 17 years old. That shit just drained me. You know what I'm saying? And again, a moment where not pre-internet, but internet in 1997, like you had to get the to log on to the internet. And you didn't need the internet to know that this happened. This reverberated throughout the country, throughout the world. And still to this day, our legends were taken from us. And also, unfortunately became a theme of how dangerous it really was out there. We kind of realized for the first time, like, oh no, these dudes aren't just talking about this shit. Like this is actually real. This shit is actually dangerous. And when you're talking about the state property and D-Block shit, Styles let it be known, like we was riding around with hammers. Like we was expecting to see these guys and it was going to actually happen. And with all nowadays, there's rappers who you don't even know who they are until they get killed. And then you see shit on their social media. Like I didn't even know who was the cat that ran with Dirk, the young cat. What's the not even him. No, the other one.
King
Damn,
Von,
King
King
Von.
Von,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't even know who King Von was until he got killed. And I know he was. That's because of me. I just wasn't listening. But it just now this is just the norm. This is just the thing. That these dudes are they're not safe. And hip hop. The shit with 50 Cent and all of them. Just this was the thing that kind of let us know, like, nah, this shit is actually very, very real. And it was just a crazy moment, you know what I mean? And I'll never forget that shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of stayed away from that because I definitely had I had Nip on here because Nip like
Damn,
that
that's
shit.
a fucking moment too, man.
That shit,
Just because of him.
bro. That
Just
shit.
because it was
It
him.
was like it was a situation where I was. I was I was in the streets. I wasn't home. I was like, you know, what I mean, doing what I do, and then I came and I heard and I got the news or whatever. And
Yeah.
then I got home and my lady asked me again, and that shit hit again. You know what I mean? And my
Mm.
lady just knew him as the dude she heard every morning when I woke up because he was my ringtone or whatever. You know, she didn't really know
Yeah.
about him, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it was just like that hurt. But
Cheated, man. You feel cheated.
yeah,
He was a real
especially
leader,
when
man.
especially when like Victory Lap dropped like just a little while
It
after.
had just dropped.
Hurt.
I was still listening to that shit.
It was a perfect project too. And it's like, yeah, I would have loved to see that run. Just like you would have loved to see Biggs run with fucking Life After Death. Like it's like Pun run with goddamn yeah, baby. Like it just yeah, we were cheated. But
It just feels like taking away our leaders, man. Like when you take away Malcolm and you take away Martin, you know, and I know that these guys aren't on that, maybe on that level, maybe they're not activists and things like that. But it's undeniable that, you know, what Tupac and Nipsey Hussle meant to our communities, you know what I'm saying? And like to not have them here, to not see what they would have become, to not allow them to be our leaders, you know what I'm saying? Like it
I
just
don't
fucked up,
I
man.
don't think people understand like when people not saying you're incorrect for saying that, but people are like, yo, they're not like Martin, they're not like Malcolm. But yeah, they are. Biggie and Pac were
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? 'Cause it's
essentially.
like for some people have different type of people for those type of roles in their life, but at
Yeah.
different eras, people from different realms play the same type of role. And especially when you look at Nip, like Nip was definitely on some bettering our community, use your brain, all that type shit.
Yeah.
You know, like a
Yeah.
Pac was the same way. So it's like when these people are taking, understand, like it's a reason why. Sometimes you can say it's like, I don't mean to get all conspiracy theories type shit like that, whatever.
But no, but that's what I'm kind of alluding
Yeah, like
to.
I said, sometimes
Our
it is
leaders are
just
gone.
wrong people, wrong place, wrong time. But most of the time, it's a reason why that happened.
It's actually the
So,
right people at the right time, and that's what fucking hurts. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's why, and it does feel conspiratorial. You know what I mean? Like, why are our leaders gone? This, you know what I mean? Like, why don't you know? Why isn't Tupac like? Why didn't Martin Luther King die an old man? You know what I mean? Like, no more old men, like Chance the Rapper said. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, if we keep at this pace, we're not going to have our, you know, like we should have gotten to see, you know, Nipsey in his fucking ugly looking doodle dreadlock era like Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just fucked up, man. I mean, and it does feel like intentional. It does.
well, we run a long time, so I think I'm gonna give one more. I don't know if I want to irritate you or have a little fun. Let's irritate you. Killer Mike sweep, bro. Killer Mike sweeping the Oscar was the Grammys.
Yep.
I'm not gonna
Yep.
hold you
It's
because
a
bro,
sweep.
when I first heard the album, I was like, yo, this I don't even play the award show game, but this is
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to be mentioned in that. So I wish we had the show back there. You know, that's what we do. We just tell you like this is going to happen, and then it happens. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
definitely on that when that album first dropped.
yeah.
So it was so good to see in quality music praised on the level where, because I don't really care about award shows when they get to that. Like I care about BET awards and shit like that, but I don't care about the Oscars and Grammys and shit like that. You know what I mean? But I do understand when artists make a project that they want to be seen by everybody. So it's kind of good to see that happened. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And you look at I don't remember the other ones that were in that he was competing with, but it were other
Mm.
good quality projects
There
also.
were, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, that sweet, that definitely was a moment I enjoyed.
That was cool. That was a cool moment for sure. Since we run a long time, I'll go. I'm gonna say nothing but a G thing. The video. Nothing but a G thing wasn't the first time you saw Snoop because of Deep Cover, and Deep Cover was a big hit. But I feel like nothing but a G thing was the real coming out party for Snoop. And it wasn't just the real coming out party for Snoop; it was the coming out party for Death Row Records. This was the first single for The Chronic. The Chronic was the first album for Death Row Records. The Chronic brought out an entire fucking era, you know, of the G Funk era. It sparked essentially set off the career of Dr. Dre, the solo artist, right? Like we knew Dr. Dre as an incredible producer and all that, but Dr. Dre, the solo artist, which would obviously become iconic. Dr. Dre, the producer, really set out his name on the Chronic. And in that video, this was the first time you got to see it look the way it looked, and it looked so fucking fly. You know what I mean? The Chronic hats, the Lolos, you know, Dre with Doc next to him after DOC had that awful car accident, and you could see that he's okay and that he's chilling and thriving. You know, Warren G is in the video. Obviously Snoop and the swag and everything. Like it's set off Death Row, and it set off a whole era. And I feel like that all started with this iconic video with this dope ass Leon Jones sample. I want to do something freaky to you. Like the whole shit is, I went and watched it last night. I was like, wow, bro, I was really 12 when this happened. What a fucking time.
Well, yeah, since speaking of videos, I guess my last one would be Eras. Uncut videos, that era.
BET Uncut?
Yes, BET Uncut.
What a time. What a time.
Bro. Like, oh my God. Like, sounds like no panties on, white girls, coarse pussy popping, Tipdrill.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a time, man. It was just a time. It was just fun. So that was yeah. And every once in a while you get a good video.
Yeah, hell yeah. Tipdrill is crazy. All right, let me give you. I'm gonna sneak in one more for you before we go. This, I know people are gonna be like, I'm reaching on this one, but it really was a moment. Is RunDMC Walk This Way. Walk This Way. Yeah, like you could argue that this is absolutely one of the most important eras in hip hop music, period, because this was the first time that white culture merged with hip hop, right? And they literally sampled an Aerosmith record. You know what I'm saying? And Aerosmith, as dope as they were, gracious as they were, they allowed their song to be used, and they did the video. It was like a mashup.
Went through the wall.
Yeah. The one where they kicked through the wall, and the video was so dope. And like I said it a few weeks ago, like hip hop music, as much as we all pan white people for their influence in our culture, like hip hop music wouldn't be what it is without the acceptance of white people, because white people allowed us to commercialize the culture the way that it did. And you could argue that that was really one of the first, if not the most important, recognized moments where white people acknowledged hip hop in such an important way and was like, nah, this shit is dope, and we're actually gonna get behind this and rock with this, and not just because like they weren't doing RunDMC a favor. Like they made Walk This Way what it was. Like Walk This Way was already a song, or Aerosmith already had that album out. You know what I'm saying? They repurposed. It was the first like sample where it's like, oh shit, like our music that we already did gets repurposed for a whole nother community, and it blew the fuck up. Like that, you could argue that was the first one and like the biggest one, you know what I mean? That sampling subsequently came, and sampling was already done before that, but like this made sampling viable for the people whose music was getting sampled. Like, oh shit, like we could, you know what I mean? Like that catapulted. I didn't even know, I was a kid, but I didn't know Walk This Way was a big ass song. Before that, you know what I mean? Like RunDMC took that shit and almost made it theirs, you know? And so that, you know, when you look at all the shit that happened after that, you know, you could say that moment was humongous.
You know, the way I'm hearing that shit in my head right now, bro.
Yo, that shit was dope, man. I remember the video used to come on Video Music Box, and I didn't even know who Aerosmith was, you know, before that, you know? And so that shit was crazy.
Well, my last one is kind of the era of immediate replies. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Diss records.
Because my first thought was the whole Lupe voice Mickey Fax situation.
Yeah.
Like I love that. But then I thought about the whole Cassidy and Meek situation. And I was like, hey, Meek, you won this one. Like I really expected Cassidy to get there. I'm like, Meek, you got this one.
And Joe Budden would reply to your ass the same day.
Yeah. But one joint that I think goes under the cover a lot is Rem. Remy's reply, was it a reply or just a straight up diss that never got replied to, or what? Remy Ma to Nicki.
When she replied to Nicki.
Yeah.
I think it got replied to, but like, that shit was
Sheetha, right? It was called Sheetha?
Yeah, Sheetha, right.
Yeah. So that, and then we never talked about on the show what we wanted to with the Ray Vaughn and Joey Badass situation.
Oh, yeah.
That shit was...
He brought it back. Yeah. Like they definitely brought back the immediate reply shit, man.
Immediate.
Yeah. It felt like a real battle. You know, it felt like, you know, like y'all not sitting on nothing. Y'all not seeing how social media reacts. You know what I mean? You just punching. Like punch me, I punch you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely that type of shit, man. I enjoyed that, man. Real talk. But man. Talking about rap, man.
Talk about rap.
Perfect, yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, my dog.
All right. We didn't even know what to talk about today. Moments, hip hop moments.
I mean, there's quite a few of those.
Yeah. He had a nice list. I was selfish with mine. All mine applied to me. So he's better at the list. I'll be fucking up. We're doing my own.
He is like immersed in hip hop.
I love it.
And I'm just like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, all right.
I love it. Yeah, it is good because, like I said, I like talking music, so it's good to talk to somebody that I feel like I can say know more than me, because I go through the same thing with you. It's just a different view of music, if that makes sense. Him being from New York, you just being a couple hours away from me growing up, but just having different taste in music, like that should be fucking interesting.
For every minute on the clock, it's a move to make. Each one stressing you is a move I fake. Picture me not trying to pursue some cake, cause I'm in your ear hollering at you for a date. Where's the logic? That ain't G to me. I ain't Morgan Freeman, you can't lean on me.